Awesome. I'll take a look at the first thumbs up in the group here. If you guys don't mind, I've been kind of chatting it up here before the live stream. Pretty awesome. But if you guys can give me the first thumbs up and let me know, I guess the life of my iMac is probably reaching toward the end, I guess. So I don't know. Some people signed off already from the live stream there that now they popped back in. So I don't want to offend any Baltimore fans out there. So, but this is live stream number 43. Thank you, Ernest. Welcome to you. Great to have you in the group here. I've been super busy the last couple of weeks. I've earned a couple college credits over the last couple of weeks. I was taking a course actually for my job, so enjoyed that. I was driving about an hour each way, so a couple hours of commuting every day. So pretty interesting. I see Riley says go Skins. Yeah, you guys are devoted, no doubt about it. So certainly appreciate everybody kicking into the group here. Starting to kick up a robust discussion. Obviously, there's a pretty good pulse in the group. Stock market's been on a tear for 2019. Probably wouldn't have forecasted that. I've got some of the channel creators, and as the channel creators kind of make their way into the group, I'll definitely point those out. For anybody that's new to the live stream, this is a lot less formal. Not that the YouTube videos are any more formal. That's typically the way I want it. I want it pretty informal. But we do want to keep it, somewhat on topic a little bit with regard to folks and their portfolio. I've been monitoring the YouTube landscape. Certainly, there's some interesting topics going on right now. Some folks making some killer passive income. I'm not one of those folks. I'm making a little bit passive for the folks that have made their way into the M1 finance option, and for the folks that have made their way into the first trade option. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of myself and the channel. That's actually helped support the channel a little bit, helped me make up at least my starting cost. We're back in the black now. So an investment that I made in myself 2 years ago has finally kind of put myself into the black. So I just want to thank you guys. I'm investing right alongside of you guys. Nothing's changed in the first trade account. I actually added some stock in the first trade account. That's going to be a passive stock portfolio. So for you guys that are kind of following along, I got Travis Haywood in the group here, and I know there's some folks that are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Kind of went through another little debacle again with M1 Finance and the customer service. I don't know if that's surfaced at all a little bit, but look, guys, if I have a negative about something that's that I'm affiliated with, it wasn't too major, but I've found that the customer service isn't quite as good as some of the major brokerages out there. But as far as the content, or excuse me, the account features being cutting edge and providing that access, I really think we're on the front end of the wave, providing folks with that access that we're looking for, the low-cost entry, man. You can get involved in the stock market for as little as $100. For a lot of people, that means an awful lot. It really does. And I don't know if Travis is enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Actually became a customer of First Trade. Got about 3,600 in that account. So we're building that up to the first goal, trying to practice what I preach here and getting up to the first $10,000 marker in that account. So welcome to everybody. It's awesome to have you guys. Obviously, live stream number 43. I've got my boy here, and I'll push it up here. He doesn't do this for everybody. We told him I was a high school teammate of Troy. A lot of folks don't know that, and he does not enjoy autographing. He doesn't do that. He doesn't really believe in it. And if you've kind of followed his career a little bit, pretty spiritual guy. There's a quote in one of our local papers back home. He was interviewed, and he was asked about the potential of winning 2 Super Bowls being the pinnacle of his life. And he said, if winning 2 football games is the pinnacle of my life, he would consider his life a failure. So just to give you guys some perspective, the dude's very deep. That's just how he is, very spiritual. Doesn't really believe in a lot of this flash, you know. That's just how he is. And I typically like to listen to the interviews after. There's some cool Troy Polamalu content on YouTube. I like the one where he was with Ocho Cinco and Terrell Owens at the same time. And you can see the difference in the personalities. It's really, really cool, you know, how, you know, T.O. and Ocho Cinco were kind of the flash in the pants, right? Just all about sales. And Troy just kind of sat there and just kind of blew him away a little bit. It's a really good watch. I encourage you to do so. But I thought in honor of tonight, 43 live stream, honestly, I enjoy the heck out of this. I've kind of taken my portfolio to a little bit more exposure, dropped the cash down to about 20%. So I'm waiting a little bit for the market to kind of do. There's some talks about the China trade talks and what that's going to mean for the market. I think the market's been responding positively to the China trade talks. And I think eventually when this thing does settle out, I think earnings are going to have to kind of stay on their own a little bit, stand on their own. But there's no real reason. There was a question in the group here about the S&P continuing higher. I would still consider, you know, using some scale when devoting new money to the market. Continue to build cash on the side. This is all stuff I'm doing. I'm going to roll out the 18 stock picks I added. I've mentioned a couple already with my addition of Boeing and Home Depot. Those are long positions in the portfolio. But I'm going to give you the remainder throughout the course of the live stream tonight. I may just give them to you rapid fire. Sometimes I've kind of moved away from some of the stock pick videos because I've just felt like outside of the entertainment value that they give, they bring a lot of views on YouTube. That's for sure. People do like them. I'm just not sure how much value is coming out of them. I do like the stocks to own forever. But I just want to welcome a few channel creators in the group here. First of all, I've got Average Joe Investing. So he's part of the community here. Obviously been supporting Average Joe for a long time, but we certainly owe Average Joe a congratulations. Dave's a legit dude. He started YouTube about the same time. We have about the same size channel. He just hit 10,000 subscribers, so certainly give your congratulations. If you're new to the live stream, obviously kick over, show your support, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. So kick over and support Dave. And again, congratulations from me. We've been together in the community for a long time. I've sponsored Dave for a long time and watched him get married through YouTube. So kind of cool. Feel like I kind of know some of these folks, but pretty cool. I've got Lydia Santiago from the Sunshine State in the group here as well. So Lydia, my investment journey, is also in the group here. Please, if you're new, kick over, support her efforts as well. And then finally, I've got Financial Investor in the group here, who's really up there as far as the tops of loyalty. I'd probably do anything for this guy. Kind of branching out and doing some cool stuff. Really with his entrepreneurial aspect of the real estate side of the house, which is a real interest of mine. But he's also in the group here. Yeah, and I'd love to see some of the newer channels kick in here. I've got Intelligent Investor here in the group. Certainly want to welcome all those folks looking to drive the conversation forward. In preparing this live stream, I kind of thought about a few topics that I wanted to roll out. That there's obviously a real push for passive income. The Independent Investor channel is going to be pushing the pause button on our affiliate program. My affiliation is going to remain with two companies right now. I believe that they fit, that there's no rough edges around these fits. And I'm not going to add the opportunity for affiliate commission for me unless it fits the channel. So we're going to continue to offer our affiliation with M1 Finance, offering new investors the passive option, and then also the first trade, which I couldn't be more pleased with, to be honest with you. I'm really enjoying the platform. They're really, really good. low cost to entry to the stock market. And I know for a lot of folks out there, you guys know my primary broker is still with Merrill Edge. But for a lot of folks who won't get to enjoy those incentive thresholds within Merrill Edge because they're not quite up to the first $20,000 to enjoy some free trades, First Trade can be that for you guys. So those are going to remain the two affiliate programs. Again, thank you for those who did join. That's the way it's going to stay for a while. I looked into some other ones. I saw the Ryan Scribner video on the passive income. He rolled in $30,000 last month. My hat goes off to him. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. I'm very happy. But I looked into Fundrise as well. It wasn't for this channel. There was a lot that I did not like. I think I would be more interested in recommending VNQ, which is the Vanguard's ETF for real estate exposure. And I just think at the end of the day, as an independent investor, if you guys are seeking your 8 to 10% rate of return, I don't really care where the hell you get it, okay? As long as you're getting it. If you're seeking that exposure through the S&P 500, or you're seeking that exposure over a lot of diversified assets, whether it be ETF owners, both foreign and domestic ETFs, some single stock exposure, we want to make sure that we're getting a good shot at that 8 to 10 or maybe even above in the portfolio. And again, I don't care where you get it. I didn't like the illiquidity in Fundrise when I looked at it. I was just looking at it for real, just general interest. But if you guys are interested in investing in real estate, I know Brent with the Financial Investor, he talks on his channel specifically about his own program, which probably provides a heck of a lot more value if you just took ownership and represented yourself. But real estate investing is a whole nother realm of world. And I think a lot of people are being drawn into Fundrise with the prospect of starting with $500. My question is, if you're going to make 8%, you're going to be subject to capital gains tax on that money once withdrawn. You're going to be subject to a 1% management fee in Fundrise as well. I mean, you guys beat the hell out of me, and rightfully so. The channel did not respond well when we tried to push out, of the betterment option, which was 25 basis points of expense. And I get it. I really do. So we're going to continue to try to channel empowering individual investors to get their exposure to the stock market by reducing or eliminating fees the best we can. And really, we do continuously offer the Vanguard product, at just a couple basis points of expense in there for those. There's been some talks in the group about some of the low expense ETFs within some of the other brokerages. Charles Schwab comes to mind, certainly. They have a very good S&P offering. I don't remember off the top of my head the ticker symbol. It's more of an index fund ticker symbol, SWPSX, something like that. That just pulls off the top of my head, but those traded around $40. So getting you guys that exposure for as little cost as possible is really in line with the niche of the channel. I know Ernest is in the group here, and I know there was some discussion within the Facebook group as well and with me about offering a potential affiliation through the Independent Investor channel with regard to a tax service, and that may fit, but we're going to go ahead and shelf that until potentially down the line a little bit. So I've shelved that idea. I really, really want to protect the integrity of the channel. I really do. It's very, very important to me to make sure, and it's based a lot on the pulse that I get from the audience when they come back and they're satisfied with some of these products that they're taking on, and I try to enjoy them as well with you guys. That way we're not recommending something just for the sheer sake of recommending it. I really want it to fit with the niche of the channel. So very, very important. I'm going to cruise up to the top here, try to get some of these talking points in here, which were really, really good. Thanks for the folks that made their way in here before the live stream. That was really cool. Tonight's theme is an infinite theme. Okay, and it's a lot about the discomfort that may be surrounded by or the timing of dropping your financial advisor. And I really want you guys to consider, I've had a few folks that have come in the group that actually have way higher net worth than me. Some of those folks have had portfolios built out. One, for example, was from Wells Fargo, who was being charged an astronomical fee to have that portfolio built. It was a stock portfolio. It was a good portfolio. It was really good. I reviewed the whole thing. I said, don't change a thing. I think it's really good. But the one move that was being made was to reduce and change the designation over the account from a managed to a self-directed. And the broker was pissed. The actual financial advisor, they were pissed off. And thought that was probably the best way to approach this lady who was a complete professional about it, and said, look, I can take this designation and I can do what it is you do by myself. Now, for a lot of people, that's not the case. But in this particular case, by changing the designation, she was able to reduce the fees from the industry average of probably well over 3% to close to nothing. Because the single stock ownership, right, they don't even carry any fees like an ETF does. So just by nature of looking at your current program, and for a lot of people, it's asking that very scary question, is it time to just look at this? Am I satisfied with my performance rate? Am I satisfied with the level of service that you have? For me, as far as the service side of it, I was satisfied, okay? It was just being honest with yourself about justifying the fees that you're incurring in a managed situation, okay? And that's really what we want to do, is prompt some dialogue tonight on the prospect of the divulging paths. I've talked about this in the catalog of videos, and for a lot of people, it's very scary. A lot of people come onto YouTube, they're satisfied, they're conveniently naive, and I do think that that's the truth. I really do. I think that they're not interested in I don't want to call it the truth, but I do want to say they're not interested in exploring the totality of their current program. And I think for those that are, we have a ton that have made their way to the channel to be like, holy moly, this would have never happened to me if I didn't come across your message. And that's so true, because I don't think it would have happened to me unless somebody would have come and said, Ryan, you need to look at this. This is what's going on. This is the prospects of self-directed investing. And that's really the niche, is to introduce that aspect and put solutions out there. Because if you start to put those solutions together, you're really going to start checking off the boxes, and you're going to start to do away with a lot of the concerns that you may have that you can't do it on your own. Okay. And if you don't think that you can do it on your own, you need to be very specific. Hit those questions up. That's why I'm here to say, look, Ryan, I have hesitation about investing on my own. All my friends tell me that I'm crazy or I'm nuts for coming onto YouTube and taking financial advice, right? Which you are. You are. People who come onto YouTube and take advice from YouTube and just blindly deploy it are nuts. But I want you to take everything that we talk about on the Independent Investor channel into your home and ground truth it for yourself. You all have access to ground truthing this information for yourself. What are the prospects? What are you being charged in your brokerage account? How accessible are you to seek out that service with your financial advisor? How open are they to talk to you? Are you a player or are you a small fish? How do you feel when you interact with your planner? Do you feel like your planner is open and honest with you? You may answer a lot of these questions and you may find that they're a great person, okay? I don't mean to suggest that these people are bad people or their intent is ill-intentioned. What I'm saying is it's business, okay? And when it comes to business, there is no emotion involved, okay? So you need to get over with it. If you're out there and you're one of those folks that are liberated by the self-directed investing opportunity, I want you to start to be a little more vocal and help me with this movement, because the more people that understand their options, the more educated of a decision that they can actually make. So I want to welcome everybody making their way into the live stream tonight for the first time. I'm going to cruise up and really try to hit some of these. Hopefully I get my data dump. There it is. Great. I just had 100 questions pop in. So my job here is to facilitate the group. And I thank Bob Wright. I just cruised over his name. He's got the SW PPX. So if you guys are looking for an additional option to the S&P 500, that is actually a 0.03, I believe, is the expense on SWPPX. You guys can certainly cross-check me there. But that's a good offering for you guys to get your S&P 500 exposure. I don't know who it was in the group that brought that to my attention, but that is a really good offering by Charles Schwab. So really good stuff. Nick Zion in the group said, Ryan, you should have been a financial advisor. Laugh out loud. It would have been tough for me. I've actually looked into the CFS licensing. I may still achieve that at some point in my life. I have a very, very astute passion for finances, but I have an equally astute passion for helping people. Okay. Now, unfortunately, those come with some conflicting values in that statement. And I take that as a very, very nice compliment. I'm actually designated within my specific job to help people. And I do that free of charge. I don't get paid any extra to do that. And keep in mind, the YouTube opportunity doesn't come without compensation. Okay. I'm making a little bit of money here, which is actually getting my attention. And when I start to put out those videos about success on YouTube and blah, blah, and all that stuff, I don't know. I don't know what successful is. I can take a little bit of money and make it go a long, long way. So if this opportunity turns into something a little bit more lucrative, which I believe it has all the potential to be, then I'll be making the money on YouTube for helping a ton of people. I just wouldn't want to be confined by the structure of the major brokerage houses. If I could work independently and just carry my own client base, that's probably what I would end up doing. But you guys all know you can't do that unless you're certified. It's that simple. This opportunity through YouTube has to be passed as entertainment only. And quite frankly, that's where it ends and stops for me. It's that simple. But it doesn't mean that we can't strike up certain discussions along certain themes along the investing landscape. Do I know what I'm doing? I don't know. Let's say this. I'll attribute my success to the level or the degree of the portfolio that I've built from nothing. Okay. Sold the first Mustang, $3,000, split it, $1,500. That's what we started with. That's a fact. That's just how it started. Now, you can look at it and say, God, that's terrible, Ryan, whatever. That's just what it is. So you can define success in the market however you want. But I believe that a key aspect of the success came about 7 years ago when I started self-directed investing. And I started doing so at 34 years old. So for you folks in the audience, I know I've got folks. I know Lydia's younger than I am as well. She's a channel creator working YouTube, like a hustler. That's awesome. I think everybody should have that side hustle if they've got that passion on their side, because unlimited upside potential, guys. YouTube has created that opportunity. And for the entrepreneurs out there who have justified opening up a storefront only to be subject to a $4,000 monthly rent, hoping that customers come into their store, pick a product that they like, and buy that product in support of their business. The times have changed with entrepreneurship. They've also changed in way of investing. And that's some of the theme that we want to talk about tonight is, has the investing landscape changed so much over the last 20 years to where folks in the country who may not have even had an internet connection, did they have to go into town and seek out that exposure into the stock market by going with a financial advisor 20 years ago? The answer is yes, they did. Now, access to the market with internet and technology and computing has really leveled the playing field for a lot of individual investors. And I don't care if you have a net worth of $10,000. The idea is relative across the entire spectrum. So if you're coming into the group and you've got a $500,000 net worth, or you've got a $2.5 million net worth, if you've got a $10,000 net worth, it gives you some personal pride to know that you're doing the right thing by pursuing your wealth on your own. It's just that simple. It's really kind of comes down to the principle. And for a lot of people, when that individual that I was talking about who left Wells Fargo, it was not only about the money and the reduction of the fees, but it was also about the principle of being treated the way that she was when she wanted to drop the broker off the cliff. Okay, excuse my intention, but honestly, she wanted to change the designation over her account. She is the boss. And that was the word that came out of my mouth when we spoke on the phone. You're the boss. Okay, that person is not the boss of your money. They are the boss of managing your money while you have them as an employee over your money. That's it. They are a steward of your money. If you're unhappy with the level of service that you have, kick them to the side. It's the same thing. If somebody doesn't know how to mow your grass, find somebody else that can mow your grass, or do it yourself. Okay? It's just that simple. So it kind of comes down to the principle for a lot of folks. So I'm going to cruise up here. I do see just a ton of questions here, but I'm going to get to this group here. I've got Money Matters in the group here. If Ryan was a financial advisor, it'd go against what he preaches. I agree with that. There's really a reason why the voice inside me said, start YouTube. And I know there's a lot of people who agree with me. There's nothing that I'm saying that's extra special, insofar as I don't think that there's a lot of people who know about investing on their own. Okay. And I will continue to push that until I get some cross-validation back to me from folks who say, oh yeah, I do that and I succeed at it. Oh yeah, I do that. I'm very aware of it. Ask somebody if they're aware of M1 Finance. And you tell me that's a self-directed platform, free of charge, offering partial free trades. First trade, same idea. Ask them, have you ever heard of that? You know, most people are going to be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I thought I had to go into my bank and sit down with the financial advisor in the corner, right, and talk about my plan. Okay, you're absolutely correct. You have to kind of question. Edward Jones just went over $1 trillion of assets under management. Okay, you have to wonder how they can have their 13,000 or however many offices nationwide. You know who pays for that stuff? It's the clients of Edward Jones, for example. And that's just one broker. If you pay attention to the assets under management from any of the big hedge funds, whether it be the big banks, whether it be the big financial advising firms, and they're all sitting on multiple hundreds of billions of dollars managing people's money for a fee. And that's really kind of what I read when I looked at Fundrise for a small example. If you're going to make 8%, it doesn't make any sense to tie your money up and make it that illiquid, right, for seeking 8 to 10% in a real estate opportunity. So just kind of a little rant there about how I feel about it. I appreciate that validation. For what it's worth, I'm actually very happy doing what it is that I do, and it has nothing to do with teaching finance. This is a release for me, and I appreciate everybody just from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate the heck out of the community. It's just awesome. It's really, really awesome. I really couldn't have asked for a better group, and it's a lot of what keeps me going. I really look forward to coming on and providing at least this live stream every Friday. It's very cool. Producing YouTube content is also kind of fun, but I do have a lot of ideas for the channel that we're going to implement down the line when the situation presents itself to do so. So really good stuff. Let me cruise up here and see if I can't cherry pick some of these questions. I really enjoy the compound, and this video makes a case for time in the market being better than timing the market. Good quick watch if anybody's interested, and there's a link there. Avi A is in the group here, has left a link to this. Probably very, very good. about just setting your money and forgetting it. And I got into a conversation today with an individual talking about the difference between a financial advisor really kind of getting you into the envelope. The first thing that they're going to want you to do is forget about it. We have the same idea on the self-directed investor side of the house, in that if you can get yourself involved in some of these passive assets and forget about it, that's probably some of the best things that you can do, because you're probably going to drive yourself batty like me by watching it every day. But I'm kind of a dork. I like the stock market. I like to monitor my accounts, and I probably do maneuver a little too often. I'm actually just recently, I'm going to write a contract with myself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm probably going to be maneuvering a lot less. And when I roll these stock picks out to you guys in rapid fire, you'll see some of the goals that I have with some of that money. I've got In Munch in the group here as well. Gosh, I don't remember their names either, but they're probably sitting on the couch wondering why I'm wearing a Troy Polamalu jersey if they came into the group early. But pretty cool stuff. Up 50% in NIO. Only one share, though. Laugh out loud. That's pretty awesome. That's always the what if, shoulda, coulda, woulda exercise that you go through about buying a stock that goes up 50%. Man, what if I would have invested 100 grand into it, man? That would be really nice. That would be cool. The second you invest a lot and you put your juggler out there, that's when it gets whacked and you end up getting hurt. So certainly diversification is the key across the investing landscape. And ETF investing, not to beat that drum too much, but that certainly helps you guys. Lydia's in the group here. Doug, are you messing with me? Probably. Doug changed his screen name. I'm really kind of irritated about that. He's not the one and only Doug Whitaker. He's just Doug Whitaker this evening. That's really too bad. I'm going to roll right over his name because I'm a little irritated with him. So he needs to change that up big time. Watching Umbrella Squad on Netflix, good stuff. Wow, that's cool. I'm competing with Netflix. Wow, that's awesome. Very cool. Independent Investor Las Vegas Conference Fall 2019. Let's make it happen. I don't know. Yeah, this thing is slowly making me kind of a believer. I don't know. I don't look at the data so much. I know there's a lot of folks. Maybe I should scrutinize the data more on where my demographic is coming from. I just typically try to bounce my attention back on the good folks that come into the group all the time. I've got Travick Stewart in the Travick Stewart. I hope I'm saying that right. But I try to remember. I know he told me he's stoked. He's got his wife involved in a Roth IRA. I remember some pretty funny things about some of the folks that come in here, man. The 12,000 subscriber thing, that's great. I'm happy with that. It's a good mark of some success and moving in the right direction of the channel. But quite frankly, I really want to put a lot of my attention on those folks who are really taking this message seriously and putting it to work for real. Little bit of hate come across the channel, a little bit. Now that I'm getting a little bit bigger, a little bit of hate coming. I guess that's a sign of success on the channel. That's wonderful. But I don't even respond to that anymore. I'm not even focused on it anymore. Just want to focus on the folks that are coming in and making sure that they're getting everything that they need as far as some motivation for this, because it is a bridge. It is a gap. People come to me and they're like, what the hell is that? And I can tell the hesitation in their face when I'm explaining it to them, like, you're doing this. And again, I want to premise this. The self-directed option doesn't have to be a primary option. It can be in addition to existing 401ks. A lot of people that I've talked to have the employee sponsored. You guys saw my piece of cake video this week talking about the layers. I really meant that to be kind of a, hey, let's start the first layer first and build upon that. Okay. Really, really interesting, talking to folks and getting them to understand that maybe the bridge isn't quite as difficult as they think that is. The barriers to entry aren't quite as large as they think that they are. the level of expertise that they think they have to have is probably significantly lower than they give themselves credit for. And if they can just drop that for just a second and hear the opportunity out, I know that it's going to perk a lot of interest in a lot of people. But certainly I'm just one person. I have one delivery, and I think I'm relying a lot. The channel gets shared quite a bit. That's an interesting deal. I think a lot of people are pushing it out and saying, hey, you got to listen to this guy, man. And that's pretty cool. I really appreciate that. I think the strength of the referral, quite frankly, would be where I'd want to build the channel on. Yeah, if it happens someday, I'm going to Vegas for 100,000 subscribers. If y'all think I'm freaking joking, try me. Okay. I was married in Las Vegas. I know what's up. We will be going there. And I know Lydia, she lives there, but when I used to work down there in Los Angeles, I'd be sitting down there in San Pedro and be like, we would all be sitting around the table, and we were crazy back then. We were crazy. It'd be like a Friday at noon. We had just got off fishing, from the night before, and one person would mention Las Vegas. And before you know it, man, we were in the car driving over there. No money, no nothing. We knew we had to win a little bit at blackjack to actually spend the money to stay at the plaza downtown. For any of you guys that have been down to Las Vegas, Fremont Street right at the end. It's the cheapest hotel. We used to get a hotel there for $20 a night and just have a blast, when you were young and stupid. But yeah, I'd love to go on those terms for sure, man. It'd be really cool. I'm just kind of tickled a little bit watching the progress of the channel because, with every new subscriber that comes in, there's a new opportunity to reach someone. And again, until I start to get some validation back that this message is really resonating with people, and people really understand that this is real, there really is quite a movement. You look at the outflows of mutual fund to ETF alone, to give you some indication that so many people are moving away from managed assets into passive exposure to the market, which doesn't require representation anymore. If you're going to buy a passive program, it's built to not have anybody overseeing it. It's one of those, an index is exposure to each of the stocks within the index that you're representing. So very simple way to invest and get that instant diversification. So people, the more they understand that, the better off it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this message. I'd really like to start speaking in front of venues. This is fun for me, but I'm actually a pretty good public speaker, to be honest with you, which is one of my top high-income skills, to be honest with you. I feed off of the people who are there. And I'm no Tony Robbins, but Tony Robbins is one of those folks that I really watch with some intensity. It's very interesting to see the level of engagement that Tony Robbins has for his people. I think he's changing lives for sure, and that's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty awesome. Very powerful message to watch. Dravik, nice to see you. Awesome. Great week. Took profit in FTEC. I bought in December and shifted it over to waste management. Caterpillar, CCI for the long haul. So a lot going on in that statement. Avi A is hitting it up there and just giving an idea about how you're taking some house money off the table and leveraging that house money into some longer positions. I love those picks. Great job. Caterpillar, I will have you guys know, I bought the defense subsector this week. I picked back up Raytheon. I picked up Honeywell. Picked up Boeing, I've already mentioned, and one other in the defense, Lockheed Martin as well. Picked up all four of them. I figured I'd just own it all. I already own Northrop Grumman, and I also picked up General Dynamics as well. So basically bought the entire defense subsector of the industrials. I mean, you guys know that I own United Technologies already. I've never owned Caterpillar. Interesting enough, I really like the pickup. So really good stuff there. And then CCI for the long haul. It's awesome there. So good stuff to hear folks' maneuvers this week. Take a little profit off the table. It's not going to hurt anybody. Diversify the picks. Good stuff. Travis Hayward says, I'm enjoying it. I know he's talking about First Trade. He was the one that hit me up. He had a couple questions about it. I really appreciate the confidence. I've since increased my knowledge of the platform tenfold. I still think the mobile application sucks. I do. I get it. But that's not why I got it. I don't need that. I get my mobile access through Merrill Edge, and I don't do a whole lot of trading through. I will say that I do some, but that's not the point of First Trade. The point of First Trade is to get somebody who's got $100 or a $500 starting position, to get them going in the market and getting that mental conditioning going. Because I can tell you, when you have $100 or $500 or $1,000 or your first 2,500, it's not necessarily about the money at that point. Okay, you're not going to look at it. You're going to look at it a month in, and you're going to be like, "Wow, what the hell am I doing? This is stupid. This makes no sense. My portfolio is down $200. I don't know what I'm doing." It's those lessons that you're going to learn when you start, and you're going to understand that you're not going to have those short-term validations in the market, and it's going to teach you to retool your thinking, and especially retool your expectations about what you want out of the stock market. All right, so that is the niche of what that's providing, and I'm glad to hear those comebacks. I would be equally as glad to hear some constructive feedback as well, or some negative feedback. I just gave you some myself. I think the M1 mobile app is quite a bit better than First Trade. First Trade is very, very basic. It'll show you where you're at, but as far as having a lot of bells and whistles, I don't believe that it has a lot of that, and that's fine. That's not the point of it. So appreciate that feedback in the group. I've got Doug Whitaker, who I said I was going to skip over tonight because, again, he dropped his screen name, which I'm still a little bit upset about. He can make it up certainly by offering his stock pick of the week this week. That'd be kind of cool. But I do have Greg right above, who's just been awesome. I just love conversing with this guy, man. Very, very awesome, very open, doing an awesome job supporting the channel, and always leaves very thoughtful comments. And Greg, I really appreciate it. I just want to thank and shout you out as well. Hope everything is going well for you. I know there's a lot of happiness in the group. Everybody's happy. Everybody's good. Being an investor, if you're not, and you're making your way to the group, or you review this after the live stream, there's a lot of inherent benefits to being an investor. Okay, you got to take the goods with the bads. Okay, and I hate to be that guy on YouTube that constantly tries to strike a balance between both. But 3 months ago was not that long ago. All right. And that's kind of when this market started to kind of pick up right at the end of December. It was very, very bad. The volatility was very bad. It looks like the interest rate hikes have kind of been curbed a little bit. And that's really what's kind of been the green light for stocks. Now, if the stock market continues to ramp up again, which is a sign of strength in the economy, those interest rate hikes are going to come back on the table again. Okay. And the market's going to get cranky. So just kind of keep that in mind. But for the meantime, enjoy being an investor. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer tonight. What I will is have a drink with you guys for sure. Thanks for coming into the live stream. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome to have everybody. Just a robust group tonight. I'm just glad to have everybody here. SCI, I think, had a great trading week. Here's Doug. He's going to make up for his screen name debacle here. Had a great trading week. Bought 10,000 shares of GHHC. Made $4 grand. Fantastic. Then bought 100 shares of KFH at $32.50. So he doesn't give the profit there, but certainly leveraged some of the profit over. I don't know what account he's doing this in, if it's in just a tradable, taxable brokerage account. But it's really cool to have somebody like Doug. In all honesty, I'm not beating him up for a reason, even though I am pissed about his screen name changing. But that's really kind of showing one of the infinite number of ways that you can make money in the stock market. My hat's off to you. There's just a ton of different ways, whether or not you choose the more passive approach. And a lot of people, when they approach me, they say, Ryan, you know, I don't have any desire at all in any type of single stock. I had one example thrown at me to be like, I don't want to be stuck holding the Kodak, you know, when Kodak goes down to nothing. And I was like, well, not every company is like Kodak. I was thinking about General Electric and Kraft Heinz Food and, you know, all these other ones that have taken a bath on me. But for the most part, I mean, the goods far outweigh the bads, that's for sure. And you can kind of absorb those poor decisions, or you can avoid them altogether by just investing in the ETF, investing passively. If you're interested in investing in an entire sector, obviously you have those SPDR specific ETFs that you can pick up if that's what you want to do, get a little bit more aggressive with your portfolio. The problem with SPDRs is that you really should try to accumulate all of them. Honestly, if you can't, and you're just looking to buy 2 or 3 of them, you know, you're going to own those sector SPDR ETFs when they zig and the market zags, and you're going to be stuck holding the bag on a sector that's out of favor, which can be fine. All you have to do is wait, maybe invest more if it does take a downturn on you. But pretty important stuff. But congratulations on that trade. That's legit. That's real money. I've known Doug a long time. That's no BS. That's real money. That of which I'm giving to you guys as well. I'll give you guys my stock picks as well right now. I was logged in. I logged off. I'll give them to you rapid fire now if you guys don't mind. I'll take if you want to ask me some questions on it. I think I already gave you about 5, but I'll run down the list of additions. I have some hesitation about buying the entire stock market right here. The cash that I do have on the side is actually earmarked to try to get some ETF exposure at a little bit more favorable level. Now, if the S&P goes to 3,000, like some of the folks are talking about, then I'll have picked up that appreciation in my employee sponsored, because you guys know I do have my S&P 500 exposure there. But before I put a block of, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 into the market, I'd rather just kind of monitor it and be kind of a stock picker a little bit right here. Try to build out the cornerstones first and then backfill it with some passive ETFs when I feel like the timing is a little bit better. I may just introduce a starting position in there just to get that token position started. That may be fine, but I will not be putting large sums of money into this market. The positions that I've bought here are actually relatively small, most of them 5 to 10 share positions, some of them a little bit larger, but I'll share those with you guys now. In the first account, we added some single stock exposure here, and I'll just roll down the list here. So stand by just a sec. You guys know I already told you I picked up Alibaba again. I've traded the stock. I've really channeled this thing nicely. I've been a winner on it every time. Alibaba still in evaluation is still working very, very well. American Tower REIT had a blowout quarter today. Just killing it. They are my favorite and only REIT I did add to that position yesterday. Baidu, Chinese stock again. And some of you guys don't like Chinese stocks. That's fine. I don't really discriminate. I'm in it for the money. Both of the Baidu and the Alibaba were both on valuation. Now, when Alibaba was down at 140, I think it dipped down to even 135-ish. I was buying it a little bit heavier there. Now I've only picked up a 10 share position in Alibaba, 15 share position in Baidu. BlackRock reintroduced that back in the financial sector as well. Boeing, I already told you, ticker symbol BA, added Boeing to the portfolio. Only 5 shares of Boeing, but Boeing trades at $4.40 a share. So for you guys that are building a stock portfolio in M1 Finance, right? Some of those big names, they're accessible for you guys now. And I just cannot overstate or understate how important that is to have that level of access to really any stock on the market. It's really cool stuff. I did buy 50 shares of Coca-Cola. It worked in my portfolio. The mirror in the other portfolio is PepsiCo, all right, which has been on an absolute tear. FedEx in the industrials. So I know we had Caterpillar offered in the group here, but FedEx, Home Depot, Lockheed Martin, ticker symbol LMT, 5 shares of Lockheed Martin, trading at 309 right there. PayPal has always been one of my favorites, so I own PayPal and Visa now in the payment space. That's where I wanted that exposure. Prudential Insurance on a valuation is check out the valuation, around 10 times earning on that. CRM Salesforce, I sold in the other account, bought it back here, 15 shares of Salesforce. So a little bit larger position in CRM, bought a little bit more emerging markets, which I replied to Jared Odell, one of my good friends in the group here, and beefed up the emerging market. I own that exposure through VWO, through Vanguard, which has just been on a nice tear there. So I added 40 shares to the VWO. So that's in the one account. The other account, I did some stock additions there as well, and I'll just run down this list. Probably on a valuation basis and a technical basis, both. MO, Altria, on a valuation and technical basis, it was really just kind of screaming. If something doesn't work out with the technicals and it doesn't work, I'm still getting paid 6% in the dividend. So MO, Altria, Cisco Systems, SCSO, added some of that. Probably the finest retailer out there, in my opinion, Costco, which is actually a staple, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Costco's probably the best consumer staple and really one of the best retailers up there with Home Depot, in my opinion, about how well they're run and how well they're managed. Emerson Electric, ticker symbol EMR. General Dynamics, I've already shared that pick. Honeywell, I've already shared with the group. Lowe's, which has just actually been the one kind of downer a little bit in the portfolio. MetLife, MET, the ticker symbol there. Novartis, NVS, in the healthcare sector. Added some Pepsi. Procter & Gamble, I added a little bit more to Procter & Gamble, one of my stocks to own forever. And then finally Raytheon. And I had a rogue share of Wabtec. I'm sure that's probably in relation to my holdings in General Electric. And I don't know, somebody was alluding to a deal there this week. So I don't know. I got a free share of Wabtec, $72. I don't know where the hell that came from. It just showed up in my portfolio. So, hey, if I went to the convenience store or the bodega and took a scratch off ticket and I won $72, I'd be pretty stoked. But I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't buy Wabtec, but it showed up in the portfolio. So I got a free share of Wabtec. Go figure. But anyway, that's the portfolio review. You guys can beat it up or comment, actually. I ran the exposure up a little bit more, 20% cash, 10% fixed equities. The remaining of the investable capital there is around the remaining is around 70%. Okay, so that's kind of how the percentages work out. A lot of positions, spread it out, not too exposed over those positions. I'm really kind of taking a little bit more disciplined approach in accumulating that share base. I do still think there's value in the market. You guys obviously saw some of those plays. A couple insurers there. I know that topic comes up in the group a little bit. Obviously, exposure to the cloud with CRM Salesforce. I've always held Adobe. I'll probably continue to hold Adobe long term. Good growth holding in the portfolio. CRM Salesforce rounds that out. Google and Baidu on the search. Big stuff. Look for it to perform into the future quite big. So we're going to kind of throttle back a little bit and just monitor the portfolio going forward. That was a nice move. I'm very comfortable with where we are with our exposure limits. That was my final preparation for the portfolio to try to make sure that I was gaining in a continuing appreciating market, and also taking a defensive posture just in case the market slid back on us a little bit. And I'll be ready to take advantage of those opportunities if the market does end up dealing us kind of a snotty hand here over the next couple months, which I don't foresee. I think in the next couple months, I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to it. But for the meantime, let's just all eat, drink, and be merry. Okay? Doesn't that sound great on the Independent Investor channel? Yes, it does. I've got the Intelligent Investor. Hey, Ryan, it's Rob from Boston. Hope all's well with you. Awesome. It's great to have you, man. So cool. Just a ton of folks that I would have never, ever met outside the channel. I would have never met anyway. I don't tend to talk to a lot of people when I'm out in public. I'm a pretty private fella. I went for my 5-mile run tonight again before I jumped on the live feed. Again, it was freezing cold here in Virginia, so I'm sure Lydia's laughing at me looking at her palm trees out her backyard, and that's really cool because California is nice every freaking day. If you guys have never been to Southern California, it's nice every day. Yeah, pretty much nice every day. Traffic sucks, but it's nice every day. never gets old. So good stuff. It's great to have you in the group. Very cool stuff. Let me cruise up here. I've got Christian Robert investing. Hey, I'm a Lions fan, so pay me no attention. I'm a Lions fan too, actually. You got to understand, this is my boy. So we were high school teammates. Me and Troy were. So he's family. His family lives 5-10 minutes away from my family back home in Oregon. So I typically looked at it when I watched the Steelers play when I was actually playing. He was 43 to me, but in person he was Troy. No better individual, quite honestly, that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing in my life. I felt the same about him in high school than I did when he went on to be an all-pro Hall of Fame safety in the NFL, you know. And typically I really did enjoy just the interviews of hearing him talk. When he intercepted that ball from Joe Flacco to put him into the Super Bowl, if you guys really can find that interview after that game, it was hilarious. It was hilarious because he came into the room and he had just put his team into the Super Bowl, and he's just super humble guy, okay? He just doesn't blah, blah, look at me. He's just not like that. Very introspectual, very spiritual guy. And he sat down and he looked at the crowd and he was like, no questions. And he attempted to get up and walk out of the room. And all of the reporters were like, no, don't go. And it was just the funniest thing. And he was just like, well, if you don't want to ask me anything, I'll leave. I'm going home, you know. But just a super humble guy. If you can catch that clip. I know you can catch the Ocho Cinco clip, but I'm a big Barry Sanders fan, of course, for a lot of the same reason, man. You know, the humble nature of his demeanor. Really, it transcends football. So good stuff. And I don't typically even watch football anymore, to be quite honest with you. I don't. I watched Troy when he played, and that was good enough for me. So now he's actually doing a lot of things behind the scenes that nobody reports. He's doing a lot of humanitarian work for his, the island of Samoa. So doing some great things for the world. Probably in his mind, a lot better than he ever did playing NFL football. I know him that well. That's probably what he would say. So good stuff, man. Christopher Blaine says Steelers. That's it, man. Good stuff. All right. I think I got all the way to the top here. I'm going to scroll back down. I've got one of my good friends in the group here. Noella's tuning in here from the great north in Canada. It's awesome to have you, man. It was great. You haven't made your way in here. There's some of these folks that have been following the channel for a long time. It's really kind of cool to see some of you guys again. I'm the same old fella just running the channel, and it's been pretty exciting to watch the growth of the channel. You guys are all part of it. If you're part of the community, you got some bragging rights and plank owners for my initial 10,000 subscribers for sure. So, but I know you guys feel that way. I know I do. I think I'm part of something very special. I don't typically, on my investing thing, I'm very serious about evolving, always keeping an open mind, If somebody has a better idea than me, I need to hear it because I'm open to it. And I think that's a lot of people's deficiency, is they think they've got it licked and they don't want to hear anything from anybody, especially not some dork on YouTube wearing a 43 jersey, you know. But I think if you just take a second to actually listen and hear and maybe ground truth a little bit, you might be amazed at what you actually find when you look. So I'm going to cruise back down through the group here, probably dump a ton of comments. Yep, I just did it. So Doug changed the screen name. That's funny, man. I get a crack up out of that. That's cool stuff, man. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. We're going to aim for 1:30 on the live stream tonight. We've been going about an hour. Great stuff. I certainly want to make sure and scan through the group again and make sure everybody has the opportunity to put their questions in the group here. I see some of the stuff here has kind of hit. Hey, Ryan, similar humanitarian to Troy is Bellator mixed martial artist Justin Wren. He builds wells in Africa. That's amazing. This sustains whole communities. Check out Fight for the Forgotten, Justin Wren. I will check that out for sure after the live stream. It usually takes me a while to decompress, actually, because I get kind of fired up like before game time, you know. I don't know. And just wearing the jersey too, like I don't know, I just feel kind of like I'm a white Irish guy, you know. But I feel like I want to go, I don't know, hit somebody or play a football game or something. But I will check that out. That's hey, I tell you what, man, the world needs more of that. It really does. We don't have enough of that stuff, in my opinion, man. We don't. I think the community would agree with me on that. Have a great March, everyone. Aim to accomplish your goals. Very cool. Appreciate that sentiment. That's really what it's about. Investing is one of those things that's not set in stone. There are certain things that you can set in stone with your program. And I know, just talking to a ton of these folks in the group, I know they're doing just that. I don't think there's probably any two portfolios that are the same in this group, and that's the cool thing about it. But I can definitely say with some certainty that there's probably a lot of rules that are being complied with across the community, certain rules and acknowledgments about defensive positioning, acknowledging, you know, the importance of dollar cost averaging, lowering fees, etc. Those types of rules are definitely consistent across the community. So really good stuff. Really good stuff. I'm 50%. I've got Corman Vax in the group here. I'm 50% ETFs and 50% individual stock. So just on the onset, if you'll allow me the opportunity to kind of respond to that, I guess I've evolved a little bit in understanding that portfolio allocation can come in a lot of different forms. You can have a 100% stock portfolio. You can have a 0% stock portfolio and have nothing but fixed income. I think that a more prudent approach is to look at the prospect of looking at your exposure rate, because right now, even though you're 50% ETF and 50% individual, you don't have any exposure to fixed income. Perhaps maybe you have that elsewhere, which is great. But finding out an allocation in your portfolio is very, very simple. It's basically the equities versus the fixed income. That's it. That's all it is. An 80-20 portfolio, a 20-80 portfolio, a 50-50 portfolio, right? And the idea is that the older that you get, the more exposure you tend to kind of rotate off the table. And it depends on your risk. Certainly, every investor is different, you know, what it is that you choose. But keep in mind, with the stock market at these levels, a 50-50 portfolio, 50 ETFs and 50 individuals, you're a little bit on the aggressive side. So as long as your risk tolerance is in line with a portfolio like that, perhaps maybe a 6 or a 7 on a scale of, you know, 0 to 10, which is what I consider moderately aggressive. Okay, so you're just one step up above midline with a portfolio like that. just make sure that you look at that exposure level, because in my opinion, you're a little bit exposed to a relatively high market right here. So just make sure that you're satisfied with that level of exposure in there. But I like it. That's awesome. I kind of wish I knew what ETFs you were part of and what individual stocks you own. I don't think anybody would argue with the picks I just threw out to the group there. They're all quality, except for my free share Wabtec, which I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know, whatever. It happens. I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the General Electric. I don't know if they did some sort of deal with Wabtec or something, probably. What do you see when you say look for runners, Doug? Oh, he's probably making fun of me because I'm beating him up about his screen name. He's just trying to pick fun. It's all good. Some of those folks get a pass, man. They're allowed to do that in my group. That's for sure. It's awesome. Vietnam just contracted Boeing. Wow. That might have been, so Joe just hit me up at the bottom of the text here and said that might have been the deal he was referring to earlier. So good stuff. I had Boeing run up pretty nice. I'm up 4% in it this week. So I'm satisfied with owning Boeing long term. I'm tired of trading in and out of stock. So I'm gonna become a little bit more long term approach on these single stocks and get my portfolio dialed in. I pretty much do. I'm happy with where we are. How long has that journey taken? I really want to hit this question here. I've got Sam Ike in the group here. How long has that journey taken you? And is it a primary income for you or just a side hobby? Okay, yeah, so that's an awesome question. This is definitely the forum for questions like that. I wish I would get more questions like that, actually, because I actually feel like I'm kind of an interesting fella. The YouTube opportunity is a side gig for me. Okay, I don't do this full time, nor could I really envision myself doing it full time. I get a level of enjoyment out of it doing it. The time that I do invest in it, so I'm happy doing that. I started the channel in 2016. I started the LLC, Cornerstone Capital Solutions, back in 2018. So January 4th of last year is when we actually started the LLC. So I invested, it was about $500 or $600 to get that started. There was some equipment startup, etc. I would estimate that the independent investor channel cost me about $1,000 to start, which is that's what it was. I'm not trying to discourage somebody off of doing a YouTube channel. I'm just being honest with the lighting and what you see. I don't use audio over the live stream, but you do need to kind of make sure that your audio is good. Most of it for me was the education on Canva to make sure that the artwork is respectable, starting kind of a brand. But make no mistake, the income that you make from YouTube is fairly minimal. Okay, if you think that you're gonna come on here and have everybody watch the advertisements and you're gonna make tons of money on it, you have another thing coming. YouTube can't be about the money. I think for the few people that do this for a living that are really, really killing it, Ryan Scribner's really one of those guys, and he's one of the very few guys. I know Nate is doing very well, and I know Scribner's doing very well. There's a few other folks that are making, a little bit of passive income on YouTube, and that's great. But those are the guys that are really killing it that I respect. The Monk Way is another example, doing quite well financially. I don't know so much about what he's doing, but I know Nate and Scribner have leveraged the YouTube opportunity to make passive income through the affiliate program. So that's not really specifically why I started mine, to be honest with you. But I will say this, the affiliate money that is generated through the independent investor channel gets my attention more so than the ad revenue from YouTube, if that tells you anything about the opportunity. But no, I don't do this full time, nor will I do it full time. I may end up doing it full time when I retire from my real job, the job that really fulfills me and what I do. And that I typically try to keep that very, very separate from the YouTube opportunity. This is fun for me. I don't look at this as a career. I do think that there's great potential on YouTube, but to give you my honest opinion, if I wasn't talking about something like this with a group of fantastic people on the channel and really feeling like I'm making a difference, this is not hard work, okay? People that think that YouTube is hard work, get out of my face with that, okay? I've done probably the hardest work in the world with what I did before I joined the military, okay? So this is definitely a side hustle for me, but I judge the success on the channel in different ways as well. I wouldn't say that because I make X amount of dollars on the independent investor channel, that's somehow a mark of the success of the channel. I don't think that way. I'm very careful. I want to make sure that the information comes across very clear. I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to embrace, take, deploy, and succeed at the message. And if it wasn't for me succeeding in my own message, there's no way I would have ever come out with the independent investor channel. No way. I would have kept searching. It's that simple. But this gives me the opportunity to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and I've done nothing but validate for myself that a lot of people need this information. They do. They need it. They really do. So I know there's people that are getting their lives changed, and they may thank me in 20, 30, 40 years and be like, dang, I never would have done that. I did it because you were sincere. 100% sincerity, Ryan. I didn't really understand why I was doing it when I did do it, but when I came across your channel, I was like, dang, that made sense. And I've since validated it since then to where I don't need your validation anymore. That's the level of success on the channel, where people start to really get the idea and really start to leverage some of the other opinions that I've got in the group too. That's why I always call out the channel creators. I always call out the Facebook group administrators who always come in here and are interested in hearing something. Maybe I repeat some stuff, but maybe I say something that kind of strikes a nerve, and we can help to kind of further the discussion. And that's the whole idea. It's just as good as any topic out there. And with all the blah, blah, blah in the news nowadays, it's just as good a topic as any. And quite frankly, a lot of people are financially illiterate. They really have a significant amount of deficiency when it comes to financial savvy, budgeting, spending, saving, seeking out alternative methods to when you get an injection of cash, that you look no further than paying yourself first, as opposed to wasting that money and then regretting wasting the money only to get another injection of money, whether it be through something in life that happens, whether it be your paycheck, and you go through that same habitual problem of just spending everything else on everything else in the world other than yourself. Big problem, okay? And you compound that problem by introducing middlemen into your program, okay? That's why the Fundrise thing really just kind of drew a red flag for me, in that if you took $1,000 and invested it into a crowdfunding or a Fundrise, for example, you're trusting that somebody else is doing the right thing with your money. And you might be able to make money with it. I'm not saying that you can't make money with it, but just use your instinct sometimes about where it is that you're deploying your capital to work. Who is it going to benefit? If it's going to benefit somebody other than yourself, you might want to just take a second look. That's all I'm saying. Take a second look. Don't just go at it with blind faith. All right. I love that comment. Thank you very much. That was fun to answer, and thank you. Keep doing your thing, Ryan. I plan on doing it. I enjoy it. To be honest with you, seeing the channel at 12,000 subscribers is nothing less than motivating for me, to be honest with you. Very motivating. I've done businesses in the past that I've failed at, guys, and I have a business mind. That's the hard part for me, is that I do have that entrepreneurial spirit. I do have that fire inside me, and I'm not the only one. There's a ton of people in here in this group and that make their way to the channel that feel the same freaking way. And all they need is somebody like me to say, you're special. Just like a ton of other people in this world, a lot of good people in this world who are just looking for that one opportunity where they can kind of light that fire and get a little bit brighter. I think it's a beautiful thing. I really do. I think it's awesome. I'm not the only one. No way. I know there's other people out there that would probably really, really pursue some level of success if they could do that. And my definition of success is way, way different than a lot of people define in life as far as success and what you do with your program and what it is that you do with your daily activity. Lots of different stuff. Lots of different stuff. This just really helps kind of foster that. I like the honesty, which is why I stay around this channel. Common investing, excuse me, which is why I stay around this channel. Common sense and honesty is what I look for. Okay, so I'll comment to that a little bit. Investing is just a small piece to the gig, okay? I could probably come out with 5 videos and say everything that I ever need about investing. Honestly, investing is not that hard. Investing is a piece of cake. I mean that. I really do. Getting people over psychological barriers, that's a little tougher. Getting people to change their ways, that's even tougher, because the older somebody gets, the more immune they are to change. I think in a lot of cases, I don't feel like I'm that way. Some things I am, but on the flip side of that spectrum, I think a lot of kids in their late teens and 20s are way, way too susceptible. Okay. So you have this balance on both sides of the spectrum here, in that to become a successful investor, I think you have to have a couple other aspects of your life kind of in line. You have to have kind of a sixth sense about you, in that you're pursuing something greater than yourself. I really do. I think there will be people with shallow perspectives that get involved with the market. They'll fail. They'll move on, never to do it again. That's fine. But investing can really, really be that opportunity for you. And I'm starting to realize the fruits of my decisions that I made, and I knew it would pay off. The thing about it is I have made tons and tons of mistakes. And that's a lot of what people can relate to, is be like, Jesus, Ryan is cool because he comes onto YouTube and talks about all the idiotic maneuvers he made. He talks about, screwing with his portfolio too often than not. We're kind of observing the evolution of an individual that not only focuses on the negative aspect, the toying of, being up in a stock and wanting to take that profit off the table. What should you do? When should you do it? These are all questions that we toy with if we're going to enter into the realm of investing. Okay, it really can bring out a lot of different instincts in people, and it's how you react to that which is going to kind of determine your success in the market. So really appreciate that. That was a very kind comment. I love it. There's just a ton of capability in the group here. There's investors in the group here who I can guarantee are better than me. I've got Joseph, Joe's offering CSX. Really love the company. It's awesome. That's a great, great pickup. I'd like to add a rail. I'm just kind of confused as to which one. I've invested in Union Pacific before, Norfolk Southern, CSX as well. And then there's one other as well that I'm kind of thinking of. Maybe it is CSX. But I don't currently own a rail right now, but thanks for offering that. Bought GS and Raytheon today. Smart. So GS on a valuation, Michael Babcock is offering. So Goldman Sachs on valuation is really, really attractive right here. I looked at that as well, but I'm pretty heavy financials right now. I know they list American Tower REIT as a financial services company. I'm not really sure I kind of understand that too much because it's a REIT. But I think that's a couple good pickups you got there, man. Good stuff. I believe I'm 20% financials. So you're a little overweight in financials. That's fine. think recommended allocation is around 17%, so not too bad. I just think there's so many value plays there. I've provided you guys SunTrust, First SunTrust, I believe. The ticker symbol is escaping me. FTI, I believe, is the ticker symbol. But you guys know in my first trade review, I reviewed all those regionals that I bought. I didn't buy one big bank out of that group. Bank of America is the big group in the big portfolio, but the first trade is riddled with some really, really good regionals. Key Bank is another example. There was a couple other in that group as well, but for valuation right now, pretty good value there and a pretty good dividend to boot as well. Financials is pretty attractive right here. So good stuff, right? You make me feel better when you're not afraid to say your stock is down. Yeah, no, I don't. That's part of the gig. That's just stupid. That's just a killer comment. And here's why it's stupid. I would never come onto YouTube, and I've just been through it way, way too many times. And if there's a new investor out there that hears me talk about, how good the stock market's been, it's been very good, been the best beginning to a year since I think 97. It's been very, very good. If that's all a new investor hears, then they're going to get the same euphoric message that I believe is rampant across YouTube. And they're going to buy a stock. They're going to take it into a haircut. They may even make 20%. That can be some of the worst thing that can happen, because then they think they can duplicate that 100 times over, quit their job, retire, and they're done at 23 years old, No, you'll never hear that type of lingo from me. When I'm down in a position, I'll tell you, like Lowe's was pretty disappointing. Saw it run up to 108, owned it. And now I've watched it kind of creep back a little bit, and that's kind of disappointing. I just think that the both Lowe's and Home Depot are just out of favor right now. But yeah, I don't mind that a bit. That's far from me. If somebody thinks that I am a bad stock investor because I portray some of the losses or whatnot, I'm going to tell you that's a normal thing. It's normal. I think you can minimize that. When you step into the realm of single stock investing, you have to be willing to work in a different range of swings. You have to. If you're going to buy the whole market and you're going to buy the ETF and you're going to go the diversified route, you can take that risk out of the equation. You really can. Now you take some of the reward out of the equation. And I'm not talking about Doug Whitaker reward. I'm talking about rewards of 20, 30, 40% appreciation. Are you going to get that or beyond? Are you going to get that investing in the S&P 500? Maybe in just a banner year, okay? But you're probably on an average going to get your 8 to 10% in those diversified products. Maybe an extra point if you pick the right sector in the sector spider ETFs. But when you do end up going into the single stock, there's no way I could have avoided that Kraft Heinz. No way. I don't beat myself up over that. I don't. It's just part of the gig. And the idea is that I typically acknowledge that you win way, way more often than you lose, okay? And I find it ironic how people will justify going into a casino where the odds are stacked against them, but they'll justify every reason under the sun not to invest in the stock market where you've got the greatest potential to win more often than not. That's real talk right there. I don't see it. I don't even play blackjack anymore. I don't go to Vegas without any money either. I've been there and been in some interesting spots, man. But really cool stuff. I got Greg offering some comments here with the stock picks. CSX, NSC, and Union P have similar estimated earnings growth patterns. Dividend yield and a bit low for me. So the earnings growth is probably what you're speaking about being low there, because I think the dividends are actually fairly attractive in those names. But I just think in the industrial sector, geez Louise, there's so many good, attractive names out there right now. It's just insane. Really, really, industrials is it's one of my favorite sectors to invest in. That's why I'm surprised when somebody offered the Caterpillar pick, and I've never owned it. I've owned John Deere. I've owned John Deere multiple times, and you can probably buy it right here as well. John Deere is a great, great company, just a great company.
Great engines too, to be honest with you. Very cool. Hoping to one day start my own business. Just got to find the right thing for me. So I've got Sam Ike in the group here as well, offering a comment. I make no mistake, YouTube is your own business. And let me give you some real talk. I would encourage, that's why I try to help and pick up some of the young YouTube channels. I say young, I'm young as well. But if I notice that you're new, I try to help and boost that along. I don't know why. I'm just pretty passionate about helping if I can. But YouTube is a great opportunity. It really is. And if you can think about something that you can offer that's not going to ever get old, for me, it's financing. I can talk about this till the cows come home, to be honest. But YouTube is a great thing to have in your back pocket. I would just caution you on this. Don't have money as your motivator, because you'll be disappointed. I think the further you can distance your motivating factor of money on YouTube, it's really going to help you, because there's been a few times of the channel where I've wanted nothing to do with this channel. That's real talk. Like it's hard mentally as far as that goes. Like, am I making a difference? Am I wasting my time? Why am I up at 2 a.m. editing videos? And at times like that, they come and they go, and then I get remotivated again to do what it is that I'm doing. And there was a time probably around 8 months ago when this channel kind of caught fire for me, and I don't foresee that going away. But there were certainly some times when the channel was first started that you go through some hard times. Now I watch certain channels and seemingly, and I think Scribner is exempt from this, because I told that guy I wished the moon for him. I really do. Why? Because I know him personally. And I think he deserves everything he's getting. I think he's got grander visions, to be honest with you, than where he's at right now. And he's killing it right now. He really is. I'm proud as hell of him. I'm proud of him. He's just doing a great job. But there's some success coming to some other channels as well that aren't quite as good as I think that they could be. But what's the downside potential of YouTube? Honestly, what's the upfront cost that it takes to start a YouTube channel? So some things to kind of keep in mind if you do find that niche. It doesn't have to be through YouTube either. It can be through Facebook. It can be through, if you can figure Instagram out, do it through Instagram. That's seemingly the platform of choice now, that of which I have not figured out. But really good stuff, man. I wish you all the luck in the world. If you do nothing other than just become a self-directed investor, you define entrepreneurship for me, man. I could argue that self-directed investing in and of itself is its own kind of form of business. You bet. That's good stuff, man. Keep doing things. Let me scroll up here and make sure. You're a very intelligent man. Well, I tell you what, you're the only one and only. I tell you what, man, that's what I'm saying about that. I wish I would have pulled a $4,000 stock trade this week. I was busy all week in school. That's really cool, man. I think the one and only has probably got the last 5 weeks running of the stock trade of the week. No doubt about it. He typically swoops in to retain his title as the stock pick of the week or stock trade of the week. So that's pretty awesome, man. I just love to hear about those successes. Really do, in all honesty. I just love to hear about it, because it does nothing other than validate that if you put the work into it, that's real stuff. That's real money. And it's relative. It doesn't have to be a $4,000 win. I know, I've known him a long time, and I can be just as happy for somebody making a $100 profit, for somebody that $100 may mean some validation in that portfolio that proves to that individual that, man, that there's some possibility here, and may give them that empowerment to understand. And I think Doug really does understand the level of risk that he's taking on as well. So, yeah, I think that's really important. I've got the Mr. Finance Guru, Ryan and Graham are making bank. So both of those guys I really like. I like Graham as well. Graham really puts out a very sharp product. I like the fact that he's a realtor as well. Just kind of cool. Seems like a really cool guy. I enjoy his content actually. I don't mention him very much. I just am partial to, my friend. I mean, I knew the guy when he had 6,000 subscribers, and had nothing to do with the fact that I thought that he was going to have 500,000 subscribers someday. I just thought his content was legit. And the first YouTube video that I watched of Ryan Scribner had nothing to do with finances. It had everything to do with his friend dying. So, it was just one of those things to where, I reached out to him, and he's cool. I got to meet him in person. He's a very, very nice guy. Wish him all the success in the world. Graham, same way. I don't know him personally, but I like the content that he puts out, and I think he's motivating a lot of people to really understand the prospects. And I think he relates to a lot of younger folks, which I don't. I'm an older fella, but certainly there's a lot of benefit to my experience as well, and where I've been in the market, and some of the things I bring to the table too. It's good stuff, man. The one and only, yes, he changed it. Started watching your videos, very well done, liked and enjoyed what I heard. Thank you for that support. That's awesome for the financial investor. Really good stuff. General Electric is having a fire sale, trans unit to Wabtec. Looks like Danaher wants the biopharma unit. I believe that actually settled, to be honest with you. I believe Danaher did actually buy that, if I'm not mistaken. Are there any tax implications to selling bond ETFs? There's not. I hold my bond ETFs way long term, even in my taxable account. But if you own them in the Roth IRA, then no, you're good. There is no tax implication in either one of those for either one of those conditions. If you're going to be buying and selling the bond ETFs, then you're going to subject that to tax. Now, there was a question brought up whether or not the new tax laws gave some relief, even for short-term capital gains tax, less than $30,000 per year. This might be one of my earnest questions, actually. It was interesting because I had heard some scuttlebutt about the new tax plan giving some relief for short-term capital gains tax. But if it's the way that it was before, short-term capital gains tax was always taxed at the effective rate for the capital gains on the short side. The long-term capital gains was exempt for the lower two tax brackets. Okay, so the rule of thumb there was keep it for longer than a year and you'd be exempt from the taxes. As long as the holding was held in the account for over 365 days, you were good. But my understanding is that there may be some relief on the short-term capital gains tax for $30,000. I don't know. Okay, that's probably a question for Google, not Ryan. Okay, so Ernest may take that and check it and see if the tax law this time around actually gives some assistance or some relief on the short-term capital gains side of the house. Okay, so a really good question. Thank you. And I don't have any intention of selling in and out of my fixed equities. I've actually enjoyed being an owner in those ETFs. So good stuff. Yeah, LLC plus registered 150, but you don't need to do these. Yeah, I paid a little bit more than that. It was through InkFile, I think. I did not go with LegalZoom, but yeah, it was around $450. I had mine started in New York, which was significantly more expensive. So hold debt free, even house, self-employed, business owner. I will look into fixed income ETFs. Thank you. Look at the Vanguard's website. You'll check and see some pretty good examples on there. So guys, I think I'm going to scroll back down and see if I caught some of these. The short-term gains is still at the ordinary rate, but the tax itself cut the tax bracket. So in that respect, there is a tax break. Awesome. That's kind of what I thought I heard on that. So really good. I just scrolled down here. I saw another channel creator that I do want to mention. Mr. Bill Schultz, I just came across his name here. I scrolled to the bottom and everything punched in there. So I want to give a shout out. Welcome to Bill as well. Honestly, continue to kick over and support the message he's putting out as well. I haven't earned dividends on 2 or 3 stocks I own on the ex-dividend, and I've been paid the dividends, but no activity indicating I was paid. Wow, that's interesting. I think perhaps you may be, and I don't want to misspeak here, but I think, Bill, you might have that dividend that was paid to the portfolio and not the individual stock. Yes? I assume that you're talking in your M1 finance account. So you can get back to me if you want on that, but that may be what happened. That's not a dividend reinvestment program. That's kind of a portfolio funding where they take the dividend from your stock and fund the portfolio, and they split that dividend based over the allocation that you have set for each of the names. So it basically buys your entire portfolio rather than that individual name. So I don't know. There's been some talk through the group. Yeah, M1 tracking is messing up. There's been a few comments that have come through, and I don't know if it's related to that. I don't think it's a functionality problem per se that the investors need to be worried about through M1. But it is interesting anyway to note, because I've had a couple other comments come through the channel kind of addressing this and kind of throwing it out there to group to say, have you had this happen in your account, and kind of get people's pulse in on it. So really interesting. Sorry, Ryan, work late on Fridays now. That's all good. You don't need to apologize for working. Good grief. That's what I did all week. I worked. I'm a worker. So cleaning up the house. Apex isn't great. Okay, Joe? Sorry, man. No investing of dividends tracking is messed up. Good stuff. Let me cruise up here. You get what you pay for with M-Weight. Oh, wait, it's free. Laugh out loud. Money matters. So you make a good point. That's kind of my response a little bit. I think there is a difference between, I think the M1 is really good, but I think their research platform is definitely not as good as Merrill Edge. Merrill Edge is awesome for that aspect. I use that all the time. I go on there just to kick around for enjoyment. It's that cool. I don't see myself doing that with M1 Finance. So yeah, that's true. We're not looking for a blow your socks off service here with M1 Finance, nor are we looking for that level of service with First Trade, to be honest with you. But we're looking for that free entrance to the market for a very, very low entry level. So really, really important. So let me cruise up, make sure. Jerry Welch is in the group. M1 does too many tweaks too often. That's interesting. I can't speak about their tweaks on their platform itself. I think they could probably tweak it and buy more stock more often throughout the day. That's always been my big beef with M1 Finance, is that the first trade is very, very lightning fast. So going good. Hey, Bill. So with that, guys, I think in a minute 37, I am going to cruise off here. We've had just a ton of people come into the live stream. Can't thank you enough. Again, I thanked everybody at the top of the group. If you've made your way into the First Trade platform as an affiliate referral and you've signed up for that, thank you so much. I'm going to be investing right alongside you guys. If we can build wealth together, I would consider that no less of a success on the channel. And hopefully we can duplicate those efforts. I love it. So thank you again for that support. Hopefully it works out as well for you as it has for me. I believe that it will. So for you guys that have come in, thanks again for your time. Hit the thumbs up, please. That does help, I guess. So the algorithm can love the Independent Investor channel, and we can get some more love and help us grow this channel. I do have aspirations to grow the channel. Certainly, if you know somebody that's interested in investing, the niche, maybe you think that their personality would kind of jive with the self-directed program that we're pushing through, it's very real. It does exist, but you're certainly not going to have folks sharing the message through social media like I do. No freaking way. I'm one of the few guys, and I could just lean on you guys for the help to help us share the message and get people kind of tuned on to the prospects. K97 says, when is your next collaboration with another channel? I don't know. I've got some, you know, if I was going to do a collaboration with one individual, it'd be Nate O'Brien, no doubt about it. I don't know if he would agree to that. He's kind of his own individual man, and I respect that. But he'd be my favorite. And I'd do it with, I'd drive up to DC. But I want to kind of have a project done before I hit Nate up, because one of the videos he put out with kind of motivated me to start writing my book again. And I owe him a debt of gratitude. So if I can get that book done, eventually I'd like to signature copy a book for him and write him a message and present it on a live stream collaboration. But there's a lot of things I want to say to that guy, and I'd like to say it via collaboration. But Nate O'Brien would be tops on my list as far as a collaboration for sure. Obviously, some of the other guys, Financial Investor and Dave, we could probably throw down a collaboration, but we do a collaboration every Friday on the Independent Investor Channel live stream. So I don't know how unique it would be. You know, I've already done a bunch of collabs with Scribner, obviously, and we're kind of far removed. But anyway, it's a cool question. But I will be signing off, guys. Now I'm going to get on with my weekend. I wish you guys the best for your weekend. Stand by. I do have just a ton of topics in the hopper. Don't get impatient with me if I don't get back on the comments right away. That's something that really takes a lot of time, and I sometimes don't have the time right away. But certainly I try to get that content dumped there to keep the fire stoked in the discussion. And I appreciate you guys coming into the group tonight to help me support live stream 43. Again, thanks a ton, and we will check you guys next Friday for the live stream, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You guys take it easy and have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you.